Hello, and welcome again to a quickie on the Vigilant Christian, in which he demonstrates a complete lack of understanding of the history of his own country, and how he feels so alone, despite all indications to the contrary.
Now, why I wanted to talk about loneliness is, if you don't know, I experienced this big time. I'm a Canadian Christian, and up here in Canada, first of all, our population, I think there's as many people in our entire nation as there is in Manhattan.
First off, Canada has a population of about 30 million, not 20 million. And secondly, seriously, think about this. The entire population of all of New York City, that's including Queens, the Bronx, Manhattan, and so on, has about 10 million people living in it. How the hell is Manhattan alone supposed to have 20 million people living in it? How the hell is this supposed to work? Think.
Or something like that. I think we're like 20 million, and we're spaced out over this land that's bigger than the United States of America. I live in a small city. There's 50,000 of us here. The Catholic Church had a powerful influence at deceiving people about Christ, so a lot of people are hesitant to turn to him. And Christianity is not thriving here in Canada. In Alberta, you can actually get charged $10,000 for what they consider to be hate speech if you talk against homosexuality. Gay marriage is way more advanced here. The devil has a lot more foothold because we're more quote-unquote liberal. And our country is deceived into thinking that's cool and awesome, and that's the way we should be. And we're about to probably elect another liberal prime minister who's going to take us even further into this type of system.
Okay, wait. What the fuck? We're only 1 minute into your video, and I already have to pull my bullshit card. This has to be a record in the few weeks I've been doing this so far. Now, I know you're not the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to reason and logic. Quite frankly, you're a blunt piece of wood when it comes to that, but I never thought you could be this demented and ignorant. A quick lesson on history. The reason why Canadian politicians are passing the laws that they do has nothing to do with Satan or Mackie Mackie or Seven Macaw or any evil fairy tale Vinny you want to trot out here. The reason why these laws are passed lies in, obviously, an extremely troubled past. Up until, let's say, the 1980s perhaps, Canada was very different from what it is now, and its history was mired by decades and centuries of extreme racism, extreme xenophobia, and extreme prejudices, be it putting First Nation children into Christian schools to make them forget their heritage and their language, or the British government, after seizing Quebec, not allowing French Canadians to open up and hold a business. Hell, you could even go so far as to see the first ethnically based prejudice in the Vikings of Lacebuty or Newfoundland, where they called the native Beothuk Skraelings, which colloquially translates to pussies or pushovers. And it wasn't until the civil rights movement in the US that First Nation people and French Canadians wanted something like this to be realized in Canada as well. Although the latter used fear and terror to do this, which is obviously a very dubious way to get your message across. And it wasn't until the advent of global media and, lastly, the internet, that Canadian politicians eventually came to their senses and passed more progressive laws. And even that took its time. I mean, First Nation people didn't get their rights until 1960, and only in 2006 were French Canadians officially and legally recognized by the Canadian government. The rest of his video is merely an almost never-ending cry fest in which he reads the post of someone else that apparently mirrors how he's so alone and how he has no one else in the world to share his message with. You know, apart from the average 10,000 hits his videos get, and his 62,200 subscribers, the majority of whom obviously aren't in it for the lols. People he can readily write to and share his message and chat with. Some of them maybe even living in his neck of the woods. Alone my ass. Also, he cries about how his uncle is the only person that understands him, but whom he rarely sees. Hey, smartass, why don't you just move in with him? You're only a few years older than me. You can do what you want. Where's the problem here? Lastly, he presents us with a barrage of Bible quotes, but I can't get into that without quoting the Bible back to him. You know, the parts he gladly chooses to ignore. This has been your Lord of the Dead, wishing you a kick-ass time, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.